Building Strong Relationships Encourages Learning by Taylor Hensel. Throughout the course of my program, I have continuously been reflecting on my educational philosophy. Over the course of this semester, I've put together my core values as an educator. I would like to share a piece of it with you that will be centered around my presentation topic. Building strong relationships encourages learning. This is the part that is embedded within my practice. Students offer knowledge that they bring from home while simultaneously being willing to learn what we as teachers have to offer. If we give students the opportunity to voice their opinions and interests in what they want to learn about, it is more engaging for them. As a teacher, having solid relationships with my students is the most important thing to me. It is important for students to trust us and see that we do take what they have to say to heart. As a student, I never felt that my teachers tried to build a strong relationship with me. I was an only child that loved to read and who had a very large imagination. I never felt that my teachers cared about my learning, and over time I started to feel the same. When my mom decided to pull me out of the school I was in, she did not want to put me in a public school and instead homeschooled me. My mother had no prior experience with teaching a child, and because of that, my education suffered further. After a year of teaching myself, I was finally allowed to go to a public school. During my time at Milwaukee High School of the Arts, I slowly found my love of learning again, and it was because of teachers who made an effort to build strong relationships with me and show me just how amazing learning can be. After graduating high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't feel that college would be valuable for me and decided to work at Starbucks. During that time, I married my high school sweetheart and moved to Madison, where he would attend the university. He encouraged me to apply to school, and eventually, I did. I thought about what I wanted to do and originally wanted to be a high school history teacher. But after some more thinking, I decided that being a kindergarten teacher would be the perfect job for me. I applied to MATC because I heard about their transfer program to the university where I would eventually apply. While getting my associate's degree, I applied to work at MSCR. During my time at MSCR, I had the honor of working with students in MMST from kindergarten through fifth grade. I really enjoyed working with second and third graders because they were so welcoming and curious about learning. When applying to the education program at UW Madison, I decided to apply for the middle childhood cert as my first choice because of the relationships I had built with my second and third graders at MSCR. The biggest reason that I wanted to be a teacher was to make sure that students received the education and support that they deserved. When writing my essay for my application to the education program, I made sure to point that out. After being accepted into my program, I was excited to learn more about ways that I could support my students and center them within the classroom. Due to being in a cohort, I had 22 other like minded individuals to build relationships with and learn from. There were also a few professors who helped me on my journey to becoming the best teacher I could be, one of them being Sandrine Pell. Sandrine taught us the importance of centering our students' funds of knowledge within the classroom, something that is important when building relationships with our students. The first classroom placement that I had was in a sixth grade ELA class at Black Hawk Middle School. While my CT was a seasoned professional, I felt the same disconnect that I had as a student with my teachers that the students had with her. I didn't feel that she created strong relationships with her students, and because of that, they didn't feel passionate about learning. I supported the students as best as I could, despite having much control in the classroom. On my last day at Blackhawk, a new student gave me this card. While I was only able to work with her for a few days, I was able to make a connection with her that made an impact. My second placement was in a first grade classroom at Sandburg Elementary. On my first day, I was given this welcome sign. All of the students signed it. One of the students wrote that I would love it at Sandburg. My CT made sure to center her students within the classroom, and I was able to do the same. The students welcomed me with open arms, and I was able to build relationships with them right away. However, when the pandemic hit, it resulted in me not being able to say goodbye to all my students. During the fall of 2020, I was placed in a virtual classroom at Lincoln Elementary in a fourth grade ELI class. I experienced a whole new world of learning. virtual learning. I was placed with my CT, who would eventually become someone near and dear to my heart. We both shared similar values, and because of her, I wanted to do so much more for students and teachers. She helped me grow as a teacher who values their students' voices and sees their strengths and not their deficits as they are on their journey to growth as a learner. For my student teaching placement, I was placed with a third grade DLI class. I was once again welcomed with open arms by my students. Due to being virtual, it was tough to start growing those relationships because we were in Zoom. I would make efforts to send messages in the chat to students and talk with them in their breakout rooms. I made sure to create lessons that engaged them all. And since we have been using a concurrent model of teaching, we do a little karaoke every morning when we are together. I make sure to give my students the support they need so that they can be successful. We make learning as fun as possible, and we do so by giving students the chance to share their lived experience. They are always engaged in what we are doing because I validate them and listen to what they have to say. If I'm being completely honest, my lead weeks were rough. There were many times that my perfectionism got to the best of me. I wanted to quit on multiple occasions, but I stuck it out. I reminded myself that teaching wasn't about me, it was about my students. The relationships that I have built with my students grounded me. On the last day of my lead weeks, I taught a lesson on writing a paragraph. It went so well that I was reminded why I loved being in the classroom with my students. When going through their paragraphs, I noticed that some of the students mentioned me. I have made an impact on their lives, just like some of the teachers in my high school did. My strength as a teacher is being able to build strong relationships with my students. While I don't have the firmness down that most teachers have, I do have the kindness and empathy part down. The most important thing in teaching is being able to have your students engaged in what you are teaching them. By allowing them to share their voice and knowledge, it shows that you care about what they have to say. Throughout my journey in this program, I have continuously centered my students within my work as an educator, and throughout these slides, there is proof of that. I graduated this past May with a classmate I became friends with at MATC. By building a strong relationship with her, we have been each other's rock throughout these past 3 years. While I will always be somewhere in a classroom supporting students, I have found my journey to be taking a different path. This coming fall, I will be attending University of Washington to pursue a degree in education policy. I have witnessed firsthand that students are not always centered within policy, and that is a problem. As Angela Davis said, I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept. Thank you for watching and listening.